Anyway, I'll wrap this video up. J.K. Rowling has been exposed as another PSYOP operator, and before I finish, I'll give my opinion on why I believe they've done this. This would be a honeypot in terms of the public figure that they've put up to go against certain hate speech against a certain group, and those that are against what that group is about but won't come out and say it publicly would feel comfortable speaking about them in front of this lady, who at the same time is over here sending out the complete opposite message. Alright, next up I'm going to expose this character pictured on screen with the tongue out. Jackie Lambie, Australian Senator, ex-military police, and the head of the Jackie Lambie network here in Tasmania. Alright, now this character was caught during BS19 reading from a teleprompter, putting on fake tears, calling for the entire nation of Australia to be locked down. But Jackie's not the sharpest tool in the shed, and she couldn't keep up with the teleprompter. Right, now I'm going to show you who Jackie here is. As you can see by the similarity meter, she plays the fake UK truther Rochelle Marsden. If you come down and you have a look at her posts, right, when you see posts like this, right, about BS19 and Trump, just anything that's going on in the mainstream media at the time, right, you should know that it's a Fed poster, right, a straight up Fed. Right, and if you didn't know it, something to think about going forward. Right, and of course you're going to get a reference like that. Jackie likes to put out in the media she's a connoisseur of the sausage. If you scroll down, you'll get other references to that as well. Right, now let's bring up a couple of photos. Right, same character every day of the week. Right, now keep in mind that the one on the left is based in the UK, has family in the UK. The one on the right, based in Burnie, Tasmania. Right, now let's get a match of the father. Right, so the one on the left based in Tasmania. The one on the right, UK. It's the same character. Now let's get a match on the mother. Right, the one on the left, Jackie's mother. The one on the right, Rochelle's mother. Right, same character. Right, now you've got the son of Jackie Lambie. Right, now they posted him up all over Australian television, claiming that he had a drug problem. Right, a methamphetamine addiction. I'm not going to comment on that. All I'm going to say is that Jackie's electorate is overrun with it. It has been for a long time. Now I'll show you who this guy is. It's not an easy one to see. And once again, you're only going to get this information from me. He's the lead singer of Sum 41. As you can see, he's there with Avril Lavigne. Right, an obvious Neffy. Now look into the background of, just been watching this live here on the Bro Sanchez channel. He's going back and forth with Captain Tazayak. Right, now, luckily you're one of the few that are subscribed to me, because I'm going to show you who Tazayak is. Alright, so Captain Tazayak is John Pounders. Right, and it's so obvious. So John Pounders is from Now You See TV. He's also a rapper here in Tasmania. Hence why you've got the Taz in the name. Now, I don't know the story going on here. Probably only watched about 20 minutes of it. Since they've been going back and forth. That's Valerie Angelino, Pastor Daniel's friend. He's in with this guy here. where I first encountered her, over in the Now You See TV chat. You know, it's strange because going back a couple of years ago, they advertised a Facebook page that they had on Now You See TV, and I went over to join the group, and they rejected my application. And I thought, that's strange. So I tried again. Same result. Well, I know why that was the case now, because you would have thought, ah, shit, that's Aaron. Yeah, we can't have him over here snooping about, he'll figure it out. Now, I mean, look, I've already exposed one of the roles that Bro Sanchez was playing. He's since retired that character. This Tazaryak over here pretending to be melanated. He doesn't look too melanated to me. Now he also plays the role, just trying to think where I started recording this video. He's a musician, an acoustic musician, Chris Cross. Yeah, that's his name. Look into it. Joe Rogan, pictured on the left, played the role of Rossano Rubicondi, pictured on the right. Right there, supposed deceased husband of Ivana Trump. Right, and I'll show you who else Joe Rogan played the role of. Right, this guy here, Mike Zambidis. Right, go and watch Rogan punch the bag. You can see how much power he's got behind him. Alright, and then go and watch this guy. Some footage of him. Alright, this is Rogan. Right now, who do you think this is? It's Kamala Harris. Right, under the alias of Dr. Ben Watson. Right, have a look at that facial expression. Oh, these are shape-shifting nappies. There's Kamala Harris there. Right, go and listen to an interview. I'll just press play on this for a few seconds. I don't want to catch a copyright strike. Right, watch the mannerisms. It's the same entity. Alright, I'm back. I'm back to expose the fake truther who calls himself Jake the Arsehole. Pictured there on the left. Also pictured on the right. As you can see, same goofy look in the face. The character on the right calls himself Nick Johnson. You may be asking, well, who's that? Because Jake swore, black and blue, that he wasn't playing any other roles after I exposed him. It's multiple characters. He's still running his mouth. So this is Nick Johnson here. As you can see, an identical setup to Jake in terms of the way the channel's laid out. Another store. Must be bringing in some good money there, Jake. No wonder you run your mouth so hard after I exposed you. Now have a listen to this.
Hey, like, you're in Baltimore, bitch. There is no denying you're here when you pull off and make the short trek from the highway. Baltimore has the
Right, and if you have a look at the posts, look how he writes. It's obviously Jake playing the role of Nick Johnson. Notice how Jake's eyes are always squinted in his photos. Unless he's got a stupid face for the thumbnail. Same as this guy here. He goes by the name of Anthony Greenberg, who just so happens to be this guy here. All squinted eyes, who just so happened to write this article here. COVID deniers, take a breath. Anti-vaxxers swept up by false beliefs during the pandemic. October 2021. Where he goes on to bash people who question the pandemic. And he just so happens to run a company called Ramp Rate, where it states here, for 20 years, Ramp Rate has saved companies billions on IT infrastructure and driven their strategies for the next century. Who just so happens to be this character here. Selling shirts, hoodies, mugs, that all state no mask, no fear. Alright, I'm going to leave these links here in the description box. Alright, so just to be clear on something, these two are the same character, as in if you go into their social media profiles it links up, obviously. I just thought I'd clear that up. Alright, so Jake here is this guy here. You know, it's a strange kind of grift. So if you go into the About section, there's no links to donate. So on the surface, you wouldn't think too much of it. It'd almost be like as if in the about section of my channel, now up here on the top right hand corner of the cover photo, there was links there to buy my artwork or something like that. You know, because even though I don't have any links here for donations, I'm selling shirts and other BS. So people, instead of donating, or people that would usually donate, would just buy from my store. Okay, so I'm going to make this video short and straight to the point. So over the past week, Jake the arsehole has been getting his arse handed to him up here on YouTube. Right, he walked into the wrong saloon. He's been taking nothing but L's ever since. Right, so recently he was exposed as Pastor Will Duffy, and also as the YouTuber Ant Brodie. Bottom right there in the pink. Now he's come out and made a rebuttal video to the accusations that have been levelled against him. Alright, if you haven't seen it, I recommend you go across to his channel and have a listen so that you can see firsthand for yourself just how dishonest these characters are that I expose. Right, I'm going to show you entities masquerading as mankind and their hybrids. Right, canines, felines, insectoids, lizards, avians, and about 20 other species inside of this realm. Alright, so I'll just bring this back up. Alright, we'll come across to the gematria here. Alright, if you type in Jake the Arsehole and Justice Jimmy, 49 and 77, both the reduction and the reverse reduction. Right, now you can go into these ciphers. I mean, I haven't even checked, and you can highlight them all, and I'm sure you'll get other matches. All right, but I'm not going to do that. I just want to keep it simple and straight to the point. All right, so we can close those two windows. I'm not going to play any more than 10 seconds at a time, so I've got to be extra careful on YouTube compared to others. They may try to hit me with a copyright strike, or look, I just don't know. So we'll come across here. So you've got a bit of a comedy skit here. All right, you've got the pink there. All right, obviously the trademark of this character. And you also get a comedy skit here with this Justice Hernandez, all right, keeping in mind that Jake is a comedian of sorts.
Justice Hernandez. I've got a quarter of chicken, breast, macho beef.
You can see there, got the Justice in pink. I'm not going to play too much of this. You can have a look at it yourself. Right, we've got him here again. Much easier to see that you're dealing with Jake. Right, now I have stated that he's a flamer. Alright, and that is the case with some of his roles, alright, but I think he bats both ways. Alright, if you you play this from the start, you can see he's got himself quite an attractive female that he's having lunch with here. Alright, now if you go through the comment sections of his posts and of his videos, well, he does get ripped a lot under this character. They keep making reference to his mate here, the Shadow Boxer. And as you can see, comedy fighting channel. Just another connection there, and one of the chances. But anyway, he keeps getting ripped about this guy. This is his mate. Apparently, he's a convicted rapist. I've got no idea the circumstances behind that. I've not looked into it. I've got no intention of doing so. It's none of my business. I'm just concerned with Jake here and proving he plays many different roles. right across the world, inside of this realm. Right, if anyone wants to look into why they're all ripping into him about his mate here, do that in your own time. For a later date, if need be. He's not really that much of a concern at the moment. Look, I'm working on this documentary. So once it's done, you're going to see just how big of frauds all these characters are, pushing space alien nonsense, right, with their CGI images, their Galactic Federation of Goy slot narratives, right, and the many spin-off narratives and characters that come from what I've just stated there. Alright, so we'll finish the video up there. At some stage, alright, it becomes mathematically impossible for this character to be playing so many roles inside of this realm. What I'm saying is incorrect. And what I'm stating is over the target, and it has been from day one. And before I finish this upload too, I just want to state that he incorrectly stated that I accused him of being John Hamm and Chad. Right, now I did accuse him of being those two characters, but he knows that I was trolling him, right, in order to get his attention, because if I had gone on there and hit him with an accurate match straight away, he would have ignored it. Right, now I baited him with, I mean, obviously a ridiculous match, because I knew that he would take the bait. And once I got him to address that, I was then able to hit him with match after match after match, and he can't get out of it now. Right, I am the master tactician. This character's just finding that out. Okay, next up is the pop singer, Kesha. Now I'm going to show you another role that Kesha plays. Let's get a side-by-side comparison. Because Kesha is the alt-right political activist Laura Loomer. That one should be obvious. Now I'll just bring up another photo here, just to seal the deal. Kesha on the right, Laura Loomer on the left. Now let's have a look at Kesha's political leanings. So it states here, why singer slash songwriter Kesha wants more gun control and says she's voting for Hillary Clinton all the way. Now if you know anything about Laura Loomer here, she claims to be the direct opposite political standings. That's why videos like this, showing you just who these characters are so important. Right, now I'm going to show you another role that I believe Kesha here is playing. Right, now I believe she's also Heather Locklear from Beverly Hills 90210. And that connection will become important here shortly, what I'm about to show. Right, so I'll just bring up my browser. I was over on 4chan and I come across this post here, and I thought to myself, I wonder who this is. And I found out that her name was Lindsay Hellas. And I thought to myself, she reminds me of Jackie Heinrich from Fox News. And then I saw this photo here. And I thought, why does he remind me of a cross between John St. Julian in the past? And I got this guy here. Justin Bobby Brescia. And I thought, why can I see Jake Gyllenhaal in the face of this character? Strange. And then I found out she had also dated this guy here, who goes by the name of Callum Best. And I thought to myself, you know what? That's Joel Lakey. Have a look at that face. You see Baba Wanyama and Jake Gyllenhaal. Do you get it? Do you understand? Right, so Lindsay Pellis is Jackie Heinrich from Fox News. Okay, I promised you a big one. You all are. You all are. So have a look at this upload here, titled The Incredible Travels of Escape Pod Pilot. Okay, where Lion Sword writes, this man truly has an amazing story that needs to be heard. Many similarities between his experiences and my own, although his remain unique. Have a look at the similarity meter there. And have a look at the similarity meter there. Now, think back to when Lion Sword stated that he can't wait to sit down and play, I think it was Sega Saturn with, I don't know his name, he's got the feces fetish. And they leave little clues. Most of you aren't going to pick up on. Now, I was asked on multiple occasions going back many months ago to take Lion Sword down. I refused. First of all, I didn't know who he was. Secondly, he's never done anything to me. I'm going to show you guys some proof that Sky News are manipulating the numbers on their likes and dislikes. So I opened this here when they first posted this story. And I was like, alright, 100 dislikes, I'll check back in an hour's time, see if it's at around about 500, maybe even 1,000 dislikes. Well, I click back on it, and as you can see there, 79 dislikes. So just so you know that I'm not telling a porky.
Household pets may need to be vaccinated now to keep
81 thumbs down. It's 103. So I wonder what the real numbers are. A lot of these Sky News videos. Stuff is made by Jim Bob. So you may be wondering who exactly is this character. Right, we're about to find out. So, made by Bob, also the role of the British actor John Bradley, and in times past he was also the Unabomber Ted Kaczynski. This is the demon Ram.